Bonjour, bienvenue à la classe de français. Hello, welcome to French class. My name is Madame Veneman, and this is my little video about what can I expect in French class this year. So I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to dive right in here. The first thing that everyone should expect in my French classes is a very interactive class, okay? So that means we are doing things all the time, like playing games, making up stories together, acting out skits, pairing movements with a vocabulary, watching videos, singing songs, drawing, all those kind of things, right? Okay. This is not a class where you just sit and take notes while the teacher talks. Okay. Not like that at all. Okay. So if you're looking for that kind of class, this isn't it. But if you are on board with games and stories and movements and all that kind of stuff, you're in the right place. All right. And I always like to tell my students, the more interactive you are, the more that you're going to learn. Okay. I would say probably 9 times out of 10, if a student is struggling in my class, they're not doing as well as they would like, it's because they're not being interactive enough. Okay. So just keep that in mind. More interactive you are, the better you're going to do. But being very interactive requires a couple other things that I like to talk about. The first is be in class. Yes, you have to be in class. Okay. So I know that oftentimes people think, oh, French, it's an elective. Oh, I have to go to an orthodontist appointment. Oh, I can miss French class. Not that big of a deal. Okay. But it is kind of a big deal because here's the thing. Research has shown that the best way to learn a foreign language is by meaningful face-to-face interactions, okay? Which is what we do in class every day, okay? With conversations and stories and games and things like that, right? And those meaningful interactions are pretty impossible to recreate outside of the class, okay? I mean, unless you have another French class that you go to in the evening, okay? But since those are so impossible to recreate outside of the class, it is so important that students be in class, right? And along with that, as you can see, awake in class. Yeah, I know that students are often stressed out and staying up late doing homework and things like that, but do whatever you got to do to get some good sleep so that you are awake in class and you're super interactive. Okay. Even if that means like handing over the phone every night to your parents at 10 p.m. to, you know, give it to them and say, okay, don't give it back to me till the morning because otherwise I'll stay up till 2 in the morning scrolling through TikTok or whatever it is. I don't know. But anywho, yeah, the more interactive, be awake, be in class, we'll be good to go. All right. Next, what else can you expect? An academic class. Okay. Yes, this is an elective. And yes, we have a lot of fun in here, but there still is work, right? Okay. And I have high expectations. Okay. I like to let everybody know that up front that not everybody gets an A in my class every year. And that's okay. Yeah, believe it or not, that is okay. In the grand scheme of things, it is not the end of the world if you get a B or even a C in high school French. Okay, it's not the end of the world. I have so many students who are so super stressed about their grades all the time. And oh, I feel for them because it's not the end of the world. Okay. Do I have a lot of students who get A's in my classes? Yeah, for sure. Okay. But you have to be willing to work for it. You have to put in some work. Okay. But on the flip side of that, I do like to say, if you are trying, you're not going to fail my class, right? Okay. If you are in class all the time, you're listening, you're very interactive, you're getting your work done on time, it is like impossible to fail my class. Okay. Even if French is not your forte, right? Okay. I have had students in the past that, they put in tons of effort, but maybe just it's not their best subject, that's okay. You know, they might not get an A, but they're definitely not failing. They're not getting a D or an F in my class. Okay. So, I like to just kind of let everybody know that, right? Not everybody gets an A, but if you're working, you're not going to fail this class either. Okay. And I like to remind students as well that your main focus should be learning. Okay. And putting forth your best effort, right? If you're focusing only on your grades, that's what gets everybody all stressed and freaked out. Okay. Just focus on your learning, right? Thinking to yourself, okay, how much am I learning in French class every day? What am I learning in French class? What can I do to be learning more in French class, right? Okay. It's kind of like, I like to equate it to this. It's kind of like somebody who starts a new exercise routine and they're out there and they're jogging and they're lifting weights and I don't know, yogaing and zumbaing and whatever people are doing nowadays, right? And they keep getting on the scale and checking their weight and checking their weight and checking their weight. And even maybe after a month, they haven't lost very much weight and they get all upset and freaked out about it. It's like, oh, but what they're forgetting when they're only looking at that number on the scale, they're forgetting about all the other awesome things that they are getting out of this new exercise routine, right? They're probably getting better cardio health, right? Maybe they're lowering their cholesterol from that, right? Maybe they're getting more sleep. Yeah, sleeping better at night. Maybe they have more energy during the day, all kinds of wonderful things like that. Yeah. Okay. So same thing with grades. Don't just focus on that grade in the grade book. It's not the end all be all. Okay. Right. And there are so many other wonderful things to be learning and, to be curious about and to want to learn about. Right. Not just the grades. Okay. We sound good? Okay. Awesome. All right. Numéro 3. What else to expect in French class? Listening, and more listening. Okay. This is where foreign language learning starts. Okay. It's always with listening. I like to tell students, think about like little babies, right? When they're first born, what do they do for the first year or so of their lives? All they do is just listen, right? They're just taking all this in as their brains develop and they're trying to make sense of everything. And it's the same thing. Like when people go to a new country, I've had students who have studied abroad in France, and when they come back, I always like to ask them, so what did you do, for the first few months? Did you talk a lot? And they're always like, no, didn't talk a lot, just listened a lot. And it's like, yep, that sounds right on, right? So it's the most important thing is that listening, that input. Okay. So that's another thing. Along with the being interactive, you got to be ready to listen as well. Okay. All right. Numéro 4. What can I expect in French class? Some homework. Yeah. I like to say not a ton, but more than none. Right. Okay. Oftentimes my homework assignments are online, not all of them, but a lot of them are. Okay. So like on Quizlet or Kahoot or Gimkit, websites like that. Okay. And most of my homework assignments, they are not super long. Okay. We're talking 30 minutes max. Right. Okay. So if you're a student and you're coming home and you're sitting down every night doing like 4 hours of French homework, ooh, come talk to me about that. Okay. Yeah. Because we might need to tweak your study skills or, maybe you're not in the right level of class or something like that. Okay. Because my assignments, 30 minutes max. Right. Okay. And I always like to remind everyone as well, if there's not an assignment one day in my class, students should always be taking about 10 to 15 minutes a day to review previous vocab on Quizlet. Okay. All of our vocab they're all on flashcards on Quizlet. I love Quizlet. Yeah. I hope you guys love it too. But Anyways, I tell them that's a great thing to do every day, okay? Because language is one of those things where a little bit every day adds up to a whole lot more than just trying to, study for like 2 hours straight in one night. Yeah. Okay. So that's always an option, something to be doing, right? And Quizlet's great. You can do it on your phone. You can be riding in the car and, going through it, or, maybe you've got a few minutes during lunch. You can sit there and go through your flashcards, right? Okay. Numéro 5, pop quizzes and tests. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes this freaks people out a little bit if they're not used to it. But all of my quizzes and tests are pop. Okay. Why? All right. I am not interested in learning what students can short-term memorize, right? Like cram into their brain, like, 30 minutes before class or an hour before class, and then spit back out on a quiz and then forget. Okay. Because that's the school game. And that's what happens a lot, right? But I want to see what students have truly acquired in their long-term memory. Okay. That's what we're really going for here. Okay. True language acquisition. Yeah. So that's why I don't announce quizzes and tests in advance. Okay. But I always look at the stats, the statistics after my classes take a quiz or a test. And I like to try to keep this rule. I like to look and make sure that about 80% of my class, that they're getting A's, B's, or C's, right? Okay. And if we take a quiz, let's imagine we take a quiz and I grade them, plug all the numbers into a spreadsheet because I like to let that do the math. And it comes back that 50% of the class got D's and F's. Whoa. Something went a little haywire there, right? Okay. And I would look at that and say, I think we need to go back and practice this some more and then come back and try this quiz again. Yeah. Okay. So yes, they are pop, but like I said, vast majority of students are going to be getting A's, B's, and C's on those quizzes and tests. Okay. And I always like to remind everybody, hey, if you're not in that category, if your quiz test grades aren't as high as you'd like them to be, you can always come talk to me. I'm more than happy to help. Sometimes students need maybe just a little tweak to their study skills, or maybe a little plan, right? To get them on track. So anyways, that is what the kind of the big 5, yeah, that students can expect in French class this year. And if you ever have any questions or concerns, feel free. Usually email is the fastest way for me to get back to people. It's veneman.rebecca@oakwoodsschools.org. And I'm so excited for the school year and ready to go and do some français. Oui, oui. Merci. Ciao.